representative. Ready? All right, meeting started at 7:01 on June 5th, 6th, 2024. All right, so this is an informational meeting about the all-in ballot item and some of the cost-saving measures that we are trying to attempt. So I'm going to read a little opening statement, and then we'll show some presentations on the board. At the end, if you guys can just hold your questions till the end, we'll be here till midnight if you like. It's all about you, and we just want to make, Desiree says no.
You're coordinating with one
All right, so welcome. Tonight we are going to share a couple of all-in assessment models with a 5-year financial plan, project plan. These models were prepared based on feedback from the April and May town halls and discussions with board members. The single largest feedback item is that $150 per month is too much of an increase for all homeowners. Secondly, too many lots are included, not making it fair to owners with 1 or 2 lots. Third, all owners have access to the same amenities, so there should be one rate. In addition, feedback was provided that the payroll administrative expenses are too high. This represents the single largest expense category for Raintree today. The last item for tonight was raised at the April Town Hall and Board meeting. Why doesn't Raintree use a professional management company? Goose Creek, Innsbrook, Lake Sherwood, Lake St. Louis, and Terre de Lac all utilize professional management for their communities based on the regular community study, which we appreciate for them for doing that. Please hold all questions to the end of the presentation, and we will address the questions then. In upholding the fiduciary responsibility to the community, I reached out to 3 professional management companies. I included the officers in these discussions as utilizing professional management and landscaping services offer significant savings to Raintree, approximately $223,000. These models include this cost savings. In the models, yellow items represent a change to the current budget, and the red represents income and expenses that will no longer exist with the all-in and professional management. The first model displays the original ballot item with the assessment of $50 per lot, $50 per lot, and $150 per home. The second model displays one assessment rate for all owners at $75 a month. The final model is what I am recommending with 4 assessment levels. So you want to put that up on the board yet or not? You want me to go through this whole thing first? So the payroll is continually increasing expense. Embracing automation and professional management services are necessary for Raintree to be all in it can be. In summary, the 4-tier all-in assessment model has 97.1% of total income from the assessment, allows for more fundraising or donations if desired. Lakes, 42.6% of the assessment year 1 to 5.8% year 5. Security, 6.4% year 1 to 13.9% year 5. Roads, 20.9% year 1 to 57.7% year 5. There will be a quiz on this later. And this will all be available to everybody on the website, and I didn't make handouts or whatnot, but it's all available to everybody if you need it. By year 5, 77.4% of the assessment will go to these 3 items. So for those that want to a commitment in the ballot item for a minimum spend, although the intent will be to run to the model 5-year plan, we just can't predict the future. Lakes, 5% of collected revenues, minimum $96,000. Security, 6% of collected revenues, minimum $115,000. And roads, 21% of collected revenues, minimum $400,000. Roads will be the single largest expense, and as a result, the catch-all category for any fluctuation in price index, uncollected revenue, and collection cost. If we are able to fix roads while saving an expense, or we can get more than 15 years out of them, then we will have extra funds for additional amenities. This plan also, in essence, removes any fundraising restrictions for taxability. Past my lifetime, at 26 years, an additional $96,000 is available annually as the ICF fund is fully funded. We could also add to the ballot item that the board can lower or pause the assessment year to year if the calendar year ending balance exceeds XX amount with all known future projects completed. All right, so now I'm gonna open it up to anybody's got any questions, and we got some presentations here that John's gonna put up there. But I'll be honest with you, when it was brought to my attention about a management company, I said, there's no way. We just ain't gonna be able to afford it. And then when I see the cost savings of what they do, and I had a little portfolio of some of the things they do, not everything, I was just blown away about the amount of things that they do that we're currently paying outside sources for. Just FYI, a couple right off the top of my head: QuickBooks, Rever, City and Village, tax returns, lawyers' fees, collection processes, ACC. I mean, it's a slew of things that we can do. This all-in budget has no bearing on the $233,000 savings. That comes from using a management company to manage this property for us. So we can put up the billing models first. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 5 being really one being the condos. It's got 19 condos in it. I broke it down by 19 condos and how much they pay, but it's really a fixed 50% of the lot cost. Is that right? I believe so. We can't really change that. As the lot price goes up, then they pay 50% of that per 19 condos.
So you
hang on one second. You want to go through this first, or?
I would say let's go through it first.
Okay.
And then get the
So
questions.
there are 5 billing cycles. I explained the condo one.
I'll throw it up there. You got the
I'm thinking we're going to put it on some kind of.
Could you move your laptop over a little bit? Maybe not.
I have a magnifying.
But I would like to say this is version 5 of my attempt to try to pacify the entire subdivision. So anything in yellow is type A, blue is B, C, D, E, or E. So anything that has one lot, which is 4, am I in the way?
Your laptop is still.
Well, that's got to scoot over.
I just have a quick clarifying question.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm not trying to be different. So what we're talking about now, is it, I'm hearing 2 different things, and I'm not sure if I'm just not tracking. Is it both the All-in Ballot and Property Management Association separate, or is this one proposal that's talking about both of those at the same
It's
time?
2 different things.
Okay,
Property management and the maintenance management all come as one,
okay,
and the all-in assessment just allows us to do these big projects, roads,
Okay.
lakes and beaches and otherwise.
okay, so which thing are we focusing on here?
Right now, this is the all-in assessment of
Okay.
what we're going to show you, what it's going to cost, and then what it kind of fits in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
However, these models include utilizing the professional management.
the
So
discounts
savings
in
is
there.
in there.
Okay, so it really isn't combined. And what was the ICF fund?
The what?
You talked about ICF fund.
That's
Oh,
the
Infrastructure
Okay.
crisis fund,
Okay, thank you.
which is governed by the bylaws.
Got it, thank you.
Is it possible that you can bring out the numbers you read off and then a sheet?
I can't see, Mike. Where's my
I
mouse?
can't process having numbers rattled at me.
So this is a pie chart I created off of these numbers, and you can see how the blue represents the type A, the orange is type B, and the other 3 colors are the 5 different total groups of everything. Blue and orange are the majority of the subdivision, which I think is 2,200 plus. So that is what represents the majority of the paying property owners out here. And that's kind of what we heard from everybody in the town halls, that why do I have to help support somebody else? So we tried to target that where as much savings as we could find in here to try to make everybody happy, that it comes from that the group as a whole is trying to compensate for our, the subdivision in a whole. So other than that, I don't know how to express it any better, but you can see that there's 2,300 and change, I guess, of that are type A and type B, and then there's less than 100 in the remaining groups that are in these smaller pie charts area. So they would be C, D, and E, one of them being the condos. So technically, you got 79 people in this C and D group, and I'll explain the cost associated with it. So the total in budget is $1,926,300 a year if everything is collected, every single penny of everything that everybody owes on the assessments.
Did you say that figure again? That's right.
$1,926,300.
1.926300.
Jerry, I'll pay the 300 if you pay everything before the commas. So, in yellow, went over this, John and I did some numbers on this, and everything in yellow is something one lot or two lots, and that's $50 a month. So anything with one lot, Raintree Forest one lot, two lots boundary adjusted or otherwise, and two lots Raintree Forest boundary adjusted is $50 a month. Anything with one home plus one lot, one home plus a half a lot, I think it even includes 1.5 lots, is $100 a month. So that dropped from the $150. Anything with a home and two lots, which is 46 properties, is I believe 50, is that 50? No, that's 125. 125 a month, so that actually is a typo on there on my part. So that's 125 a lot if you got a home and two lots regardless of where you live. A home and 3 lots, 4 lots, 5 lots, 6 lots are 3 lots, 4 lots, 6 lots, 7 lots, 8 lots are all $150 a month regardless if they're joined, unjoined, separated, anywhere in the subdivision. A home with 3 or more lots or 3 or more lots are $150 a month. So, common deed name, that is correct. And this number down here, that 2371, that is not the common deed name, right? So there's about maybe 100 that are off of that, but it's...
So the deed name has to be the same on each one of those?
Yes. So if the name's the same on the property, or if it isn't, you can always have a quick claim deed done on it and put it in one name, but currently that's how it is broken down. The largest group, type A, is 1,478. No, it's actually more than that. It's 2,000, no, I'm going to add them all up, but it's everything in yellow on this side over here. And these are the counts of the property owners, so you got those 3, 35, and the 2. Anything in blue is the amounts of those counts, which is the second largest group. And the green is the home with 2 lots, so there's 46 of those. The one group has 0 in it. I don't even know why we had that building code unless they eliminated or deleted something or added something. And then everything else is really in that red, except for the condos. So that model brings in 1.9 million a year. And then that goes towards this new budget item with the roads, the security, and the lakes. Obviously, there's other smaller projects that can be included in that. And as you pay off some of the, like the lakes, which we have a little presentation as well if we want to drill down to it. The lakes get funded higher at the first year and lower at the 5th year, hence the percentages I read off of there. That allows for more money to go to the roads. There is a $90,000 buffer, plus or minus, that if everybody pays, then we're great. If a a few don't pay or several don't pay, then that comes off of that $90,000 buffer, which is unspent in the budget. I forget what unallocated funds is what you called it. The other thing is that if we would go over the $90,000, with the roads being the largest budgeted item, that the money would come from there. So instead of doing 2.3 roads a year, you might only do 2.2 if somebody doesn't pay or there's some other crisis or whatnot. What this does not take into consideration, when we go to a management company, especially due to some of the staffing issues we've had recently, the maintenance department is losing Tom. He's retiring in September, and we've got some other staffing issues going on. What this doesn't include is the funds that we may make from selling some of the equipment that we have, which also reduces insurance and fuel and other expenses. But some of that is in the $223,000 of savings. Some of it is not, so that number could go higher. It would be a one-time savings because we wouldn't sell equipment every year, but in the onset, it probably would be a one-time savings. That's pretty much about it. We can show you, if you want to drill down and see the budget, we do have a sheet for that. Is there any questions before we get into that? Yes, ma'am.
So you're anticipating selling the equipment because of the Property Management Association would have equipment, or because Tom's retiring?
Both.
Right.
Both the property management company does do the maintenance side of things. We have not talked to them about that. I contacted 3 different management maintenance companies that do snow plowing and grass cutting and landscaping work. And they came out and met with us, and we got 2 bids back. So one company declined to bid. So that would be a straight out maintenance company managed by them.
Okay. And
That would
so,
not, now, the one company, I don't know about the second company, the one company is interested in purchasing some of the equipment.
and so the idea is if Tom retires, we wouldn't be hiring some, like, I'm just trying to understand the different scenarios. So if Tom retires, we would have to hire a property manager, or we'd have to hire someone to replace Tom, right?
Correct.
And so therefore, if we didn't do property management and we replaced Tom, we'd still need the equipment, right? Okay. Thank you.
And the other thing I'd share with them is nowhere in any of these models, today current or the new models, there is no funds in there for replacing that equipment. And, you know, we just have the dump truck, which is 1983 or something. It's in the shop right now. Probably gonna walk out with a $1,500 bill on there. So that would be you know, if we keep that, you got costs that you're gonna have to build in, because that equipment's not gonna last forever.
One thing I do would like, whoever gets called on, could you come up and stand, is it close to that microphone?
Yeah.
If you could stand close to that so everybody can hear, and as quiet as you can be when somebody's speaking. So I think I was gonna let that young lady back there, if you could announce your name.
Elizabeth Eggers. I was just wondering about the management companies, like you had said, one would contract out because they don't have the equipment. Because I was just gonna say, they're gonna get into renting and passing, those are gonna be extra charges they're gonna send on to us.
What do you
And
mean
that,
renting?
with the management company. If we don't have the equipment for them to use to take care of the property, and we sell our equipment off,
No, the way they explained it to us, they probably did what I did, or they do what I did and reach out to maintenance companies. The benefit of that is they probably have long-standing relationships with multiple maintenance companies, but I reached out on my own to get a price for these, and that's where we're at with that. We haven't asked the management company to do the maintenance piece of it.
okay, but it's just kind of it's a yo-yo on the budget there. That's a lot of money.
It really doesn't, because they come with the equipment, they maintain the equipment, they buy the fuel, they pay the insurance, they buy the
But
salt for the
They
snow.
weren't approached about it yet, so how do we know that they do that?
We
No, I had them out here and had them do an audit of the subdivision. Now that $223,000 savings is including $20,000 per snowplow, up to 4 inches 3 times. If we only do it once, you come off of that, it's what is it, $48,000 for 3 of them. So it's $16,000 to plow it and salt it. So if you only have 1 a year, then we have savings there. If we have 4, then yes, it's gonna cost more. But they gave us a budgetary item of how much per plow and how much to cut the grass and landscape.
Okay, because the way I understood it, it was a whole separate thing that had to be negotiated.
No. Well, we've negotiated, but we haven't ran it past the board, so we gotta present all 3 of these.
Right, I understand that, yeah.
We just got numbers from them to be able to put this together. There's still some tweaking to be done. Yes.
What's gonna stand in line?
Mary Lou Watson, I understood you to say if this should pass, that then the board would have the authority that they could increase it if needed?
Absolutely not. Well, every board's got an option to increase or decrease, but the goal is that if we get to a point, like I mentioned in the statement, at 26 years from my time, you'll have enough money in there to be able to either reduce or pause a year of assessments. If you end up getting $4 or $5 million in the general fund along with the ICF fund that is funded fully, then if the board's doing a good job of it, they could say, hey, this year we're not gonna charge you the money that,
But according to our bylaws, that's okay that the board can reduce it and/or increase it without a vote?
if we put it in this ballot item, yes, that was the part that
It
was.
would have to be part of what we vote
Yes,
on,
yes,
But
ma'am.
it's not on the table that the board can increase it without a vote.
or decrease
All-
it.
Well,
Right.
decrease it is something that we may consider to put.
Putting on the ballot. Okay,
You know, I'm not sure if there's anybody out there that would vote no if we want to decrease it for a year. But, you know, based upon the timing of the assessments and the annual election, you know, when you do the annual election, it doesn't touch the assessment until the following July. So if we see that we have excess money over the course of time, then you can, you know, and it's just a thought. It's like, it doesn't have to go in there, but, you know, if it's deemed that there's excess money, you know, for a given year, all the projects that we've talked about are done, you could lower the assessment for that given year. You could, if it happens from a long haul that we have excess funds, you could blanketly lower it on a more regular basis. But no increase, I think, just lower.
Yeah, let me reread it, because maybe I read too quick through it.
Can I just interrupt you for a minute? I watch replays a lot, and the noise that's happening back here gets picked up, and when you're watching a replay, it is very difficult to hear. So this is why we're asking people to come up here. A lot of people want to watch this replay, couldn't come tonight, so I really wanted to make sure it's good quality. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. So the part I stated, it might have went over everybody's head, is we could also add to the ballot item that the board can lower or pause for the assessment year to year if the calendar year ending balance exceeds XX amount. And we don't know what that is right now. It would have to be in there before we put it on the ballot, with all known future projects completed. Nothing in there about raising it unless you go for a full subdivision vote again.
Okay, was there also any consideration done by the board to take an effect that we are sending our money to another company to collect our assessments, which is costing us, to my knowledge, roughly $90,000 according to the finance records I pick up here every month?
We did take that into consideration, but the cost to do the collections last year was about $11,000. I don't know who or where 90,000 came from. It's 1.4% of all collected assessments. So
Is there some reason the office staff can't do it like they did years ago? When I worked here for 13 years?
if you want to pay $223,000 more,
I'd encourage you to watch the past board meeting videos, listen to them. We covered this, there was a list of questions provided, we covered in detail. What we did with City and Village is saving us over $20,000 a year on the collection effort.
Actually, I have a question about that. So
It
it's
just doesn't make
supposed to
sense to me, I'm sorry.
So it's supposed to go up 5% up to these 5 years, and after that, it's supposed to go up 2% for the COLA, right?
if it's 2%, up to 2%.
Okay, so after the 5 years, if we stuck with City and Village, how much would they be taking off of what we were actually intaking?
1.4 the collected assessments.
So if we did get the 2%, they would be taking all of the extra of what we were
No,
already bringing in
no, 1.4% of,
off the top of the assessments. So if we
Total.
increase it,
well, if you're saying that it's the 2% for a given year, they only get 1.4% of what that 2% number is. They don't get, you can't say that they get 1.4 of the 2. That's not,
so how much would it go up if we raise the assessments the way that we're planning on it? Or are we going
They're not
to?
even in it anymore.
and that when he
So the
pulls up,
property management means we're getting rid of the office staff and the maintenance
No.
staff.
Office staff can interview with the property management company, they still need people.
So they would have to interview, which means if the property management says no, then they're losing their jobs.
That I can't speak for them, they seem very upfront and honest when we spoke to them. I can't, I mean, that would be asking me to.
Well, and I'll just say one thing, it's just, when you start looking at the figures and through the town halls, it's been, our biggest expense is our personnel, office and maintenance. That is our biggest expense. We bring in about $700,000, and we spend over almost $300,000 with
Excuse me.
personnel, maintenance, fuel, all that. Is that about right?
Yeah, real
So
good.
we have $700,000 and $300,000 is going to that. And if we go to a property management, from what I understand, we will save $223,000 of that $300,000 we're putting out right now. Correct?
Correct.
So what we're putting out is $300,000 to maintain what we have. Three in the office, 3 maintenance, and then the supplies.
So bringing in a whole new assessment and then bringing in a brand new property management, so you're adding in 2 things that are brand new.
The ballot item is completely separate.
Yeah, it has nothing to do, the
That's
ballot
gotta
item
be
is
voted on.
voted on because we get 150.
She still.
Mary Lou,
you know, I would
Was you done?
ask this, if everybody, hang it, if everybody's gonna ask questions about
Not
the
totally, I'll
detail
be
of the
honest with you.
dollars and numbers, I'd say let's pause the questions and show that. So that way, that may answer that, otherwise we're just gonna keep, you know, trying to
My
answer.
question was about the billing codes.
okay, go ahead.
So
Well, Mary Lou, were you finished? Were you finished? Did we?
Well, it's still confusing to me
Okay.
that, in other words, you would not have a staff here. that
No,
you'd like
it
to
would
have.
be. Yeah, they would work for the management company though. The management
Okay,
company.
that's what I meant. It would
Yeah.
not be, we would not be paying them, it would come out of the management firm.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
So my question is regarding all of the different billing codes. John, I think you said before, and I
Hang on
can't,
a minute. All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I can't remember if you were speaking of city and village or a different property management company, but with all of the different billing codes, if we do go with a property management company, are they going to be able to easily handle and differentiate all of those billing codes?
So in this diagram right here, we go from, what do we go from 28 billing codes to 5.
Okay.
So we discussed that with them as well. They actually can do the whole gamut of codes, but due to the, the needs for the strategic planning with the budget, they will do also the 5 as well. Sharon?
Thanks. Yeah, so where I'm still trying to get my head around is, I feel like there's, when you guys are talking, you've obviously done a lot of analysis, and it sounds like there's several different options being floated, and I'm wondering, and maybe this is coming in your presentation, is there like a simple picture, spreadsheet or whatever it is, that shows like inputs? That's what these billing codes are. They, with this all in, this will add to this amount. And then outputs, this is the amount going to the property management, this is, and then over here, like these are the current expenses we're eliminating through property management. Then these are where the other amounts go. Is there like a simple picture like that?
It's the P and L, it's not a simple picture, but yes, we have
Yeah.
something to show you with that.
Okay, wonderful. I need a simple picture.
Anybody else got any questions before we go over this budgeting?
Is there any way you can make it bigger?
Yeah, is there a
Can you
slide
zoom in?
on that Excel where-
Over on the lower right, you should be able to slide it and make it bigger.
See, I'm not the only one.
There you go. Still small.
That needs to be focused, and my arms aren't that long.
Come on, Dave.
Sorry, I'm at 140.
It'd be very nice if all these presentations could be put on the website so that we can look at it locally on our computer.
Yep, they will be.
Okay.
Well, so, go over. A little bit.
Can't really.
All right. So in this, anything that is in white, there's really no change to today, and it's all in assessment or property management. Anything that's in yellow represents a change to what it was. Anything in red goes away based upon these two factors. So you'll see, maybe I just point to it, I don't know the line. You know, that's going to be your assessment revenue. It stays stagnant throughout this. Don't make it. With the all-in assessment item, the ACC permit fee, the hang tag fee, the non-motorized boat sticker, credit card processing, golf cart stickers, boat stickers, auto stickers, the money for those are included in that increased assessment level. The construction, the road bonds changed. We did an analysis of this, and at some point in time, the boathouse stuff is gonna start to decline, so we declined this a little bit over where it is today, but sooner or later there's not going to be any more space to put boathouses, so you won't still keep getting that revenue. The gate card income, part of the security that we talked about in this, that you won't pay for gate cards, that system will be changed out. So in total, we have 1.983 million of expenses, but the assessment represents 97.1%, which we said earlier. Dave, if you scroll down, now you're going to start to see things that drop off and go away with this. So contracted services is the Rever admin. The water and sewer will start to decline because there won't be as many people as we have today utilizing those for the building. Electric expense, we didn't change it because part of this is the lake treatment, which is going to use some electric on it. IT services are Rever and CCI, which handles our internet online security. The city fees go away. We won't be advertising. The bad debt expense is a 1 year at a time item on it. That's really what's uncollectible. Credit card fees, bank service charges. This collection fee on here actually just got booked on a different line item than this one. From that, you've got, right now we put this on there. There's 2 ACC inspectors that are pulling a payment on them. Dave is one of them. He just got put on the board last month, so he can't collect that anymore. So there's only one guy collecting it. Is it really necessary? It's not going to materially change anything. QuickBooks goes away because they have professional accounting in a management company that does that. Live streaming, the technology group with Glenn is coming up with something else, so that fee won't materialize. The insurance will drop significantly because we'll liquidate the maintenance equipment that we have. The rest of the insurance is for all the other things that we need other than the equipment. Credit card expense goes away. We won't have that. The cleaning expense will go away. Whoever the employee is that's here will clean up after themselves. Gifts were things we gave some of the employees at Christmas. It's been a long-standing item before my time. Miscellaneous is really just stuff that had no other category, but it won't exist going forward. Now you get into the big chunk in here is that, you know, here's the payroll itself, payroll taxes, some tax filing fees, workers' comp. This in and of itself is almost $300,000, and that's an expense that doesn't shrink, it keeps growing year after year for us. Those go away with and they're, I'll show you the management company down here lower. Because you have a professional trained team with the management company doing the accounting work, we don't have to do an annual audit and CPA review. We will need to do it for 1 year, as long as we were doing the books internally. Personal property tax will go away, that's all maintenance vehicle stuff. As you continue to scroll down, here's one big change is right here. This is the bio dredging expense, and you can see here this expense starts at almost $800,000 because you have to buy the investment to start it, and then it drops to 180, 125 because as the basically enzymes and that continue to do their job and the lake starts to restore its depth, you don't need to put as much of that stuff in the lake. So in year 5 it drops to 80,000. Then we start to get into the maintenance area, and you know, these items in red, they go away. You can see here when I talked earlier about equipment, the newest vehicle we have is 2020. The dump truck, which is in the shop, is 2011. The tractor's 1983. We have a 2015 truck, so that stuff won't last forever, and there isn't today, and there isn't in this model tomorrow to replace that stuff. If you had to replace that dump truck, it's probably 6 figures plus to replace it. The maintenance, the professional maintenance companies, you know, they pay for their own fuel. It's part of the fee they charge on it. Keep scrolling down, lawn mowers, license renewals, the dump for the trailer, more fuel expense. Tom has a cell phone, maintenance that would go away. They rent equipment for things that we don't have the equipment for. There's another big expense. That doesn't necessarily encompass all of it. Either is the salt, and sand for the roads in the winter. That goes in with the maintenance contract. Security is another one. In year 1, because Lakes is so high, there's $100,000 to help upgrade and change the security. And years forward is $225, plus all the other items that they have. When we come down here, you know, these are some things that, so the property management fee, their fee is $28,800 a year to do everything that we'll show you in a minute, plus it includes 1 employee. They recommended that for transition, we keep 1 employee here. The ICF fund has to be covered by the bylaw, so it's 5% of the collected revenues. The dredging is a resolution that was made, that's 2%. We may, you could shake your head yes or no, we may need to do something with some of the coves where it's rock, it's not bio. So I left that in there for now. The mowing contract for the season, and that includes, you know, the mulch, the trimming, you know, all the stuff that goes with it, is $75,000, and the snow removal is $43,000. I didn't put anything in roads up above this, so these are the total expenses. So unallocated in that budget, there is this line right here. But then I used that to take the roads and encompass the roads in it. It told me how much money we had left after the expenses. And you can see that in year 1 it's lower and it jumps as we get out into year 4 and year 5. The roads will, in year 5, would have $1.1 million. Denny, smile.
I love that.
$1.1 million.
How much of that do I get?
Yeah.
How much do I get?
Personally or to spend on?
Personally, yeah.
No. You can't be paid as a board member. And then this is the unallocated part that we put into the budget, just that, you know, we know everybody's not going to pay. We know that there will be price index changes. We know that, you know, there will be unforeseen things. You know, if any of you can predict the future, give me the winning lotto numbers from it. But so we left that in there, and as Dave said, if you move up, and I think Dave has the number, the roads by far and away represent the biggest chunk we have. Is that will be the category that if we exceed the 90,000 for unknowns, it'll reduce that for that particular given year. A couple notes we made to this is we will very soon start the CPA review and the tax filing for 2023. It's almost a year behind when it's done, so if we were to choose to go to a management company for this, you know, we'll probably finish off 2024, so we'll need 1 year of a CPA review. The beach fund that we have, which is the money that's allocated to the beach projects from the hang tag sale, that will cease after this year because the hang tags won't cost anything for anyone. This has in it, we talked about the bio dredging, this line, it's $790,000 year 1 to start it up, $80,000 in year 5. And that's just as it does its job. You don't need to spend as much. Year 1 is so huge because you got to buy all the equipment to get it started. The management company recommended 1 on-site employee. They said that, you know, this, both of them said that the online tools they have reduce the need for as many employees, plus they have employees at their offices that do some of the work for us. They're just not physically here. We may be able to reduce the mowing expense from as the rainy season stops from once every week to every 2 weeks, so that number has the potential to change. You know, we still need to look into mowing of the dam, and then one of the assumptions we are going to make in this is the 13 acres, which is a floodplain, and the driving range will become no mow. There's nothing going on there. And then today, Tom's crews empty lots along the streets. Tom's making a swipe or so with the mowers over 40 miles of road. Well, that's not POA property, so the POA shouldn't be paying for that. So we made that assumption in here that those become owner responsibility. Desiree, I think there is a rule that says you have to maintain your property.
Yeah.
So if they're not mowing back the street, we'll warn them. If they don't take care of it, then they can contract with the company to do it, or we'll get it done and they'll get charged for it. On it. The snow and the salting is based on 3 events a year. That is one thing that is in flux because, you know, nobody knows what the winter's going to be. We will have, you know, very mild winters like last year where that number won't be spent, and we could have a horrible winter where it would go up. So the roads would be the catch-all if that happened. And then the other thing we go back to is get this Raintree Volunteer Network reactivated. There's some trash that needs to be dumped around here. Also, the fall leaf cleanup. Tom's group does a bunch of that, but you know, let's face it, the trash is coming from the people that are using the amenities. So I think the volunteer network could help with that. If we can't get it done with the volunteer network, it will change a little bit the expense behind that. But One of the other things the management company does have, which Dave will show you in a little bit, is they've got really a global and a nationwide network to where they have basically maintenance on call. So if there's something that comes up here that, you know, we're not prepared to take care of, you know, basically we call them to come in and take care of it from that aspect. So, you know, Dave, I don't know if you want to pop the other one. This is the recommended one. It corresponds to the other chart, which is the tiered assessment. There is one, really only the revenue changes. The expense stuff all remains the same. If we went with $75 across the board for everybody, that's one option we looked at. It doesn't really answer people's question about, you know, well, why should, if I have 2 lots, why should I pay the same money as somebody has 8 lots? So we chose not to go with that, but we do have the revenue from that one. I don't know, did you take that off of here?
I didn't put it on this one.
The other one is, do you have the tab to it? It's on, it's back on the budget file.
Which version was that?
Most recent day.
You just have it. Is it?
Which one are you referring to?
One that had the whole big list of the budget items.
Yeah, I made a new one.
That's not it. No, that's not it.
Which one explain to me which one we're looking for.
One we just were looking at. I just talked the whole way through.
This one?
The recommended one.
Yeah. Did you collapse the other right here? Pull this, so, and scroll up. So all the expense stuff remains the same. If you did $75 across the board for every owner, it's $2,005,000.
Can you zoom in at all? Can you zoom in at all, slider? Thank you.
The other one was 1.9. Was it 2? 1.926. So it's relatively close. It's a little bit higher. But, you know, that one didn't address the fact that, you know, if I have a smaller number of properties and pay the same money as somebody with a lot of properties. And if anyone was curious, we did do the original ballot item. It's 2.296, almost $1.2 million at the 5150. Chose not to present that because pretty loud and clear, the number one comment was 150 is too much. So the 4 tiers kind of level set it, and you know it addresses some of what all of the concerns were about. So
That and due to the savings that we come up with is why we backed off of that 5150 share.
Yep. So again, just trying to clarify, so with what you just walked through, that's very helpful, thank you. And with walking through that, those all still have the Property Management Association built in, right? So do you have the scenario 2 showing that without the Property Management Association? Or the ballot items being written such that it's the all-in and that includes Property Management Association?
well, I mean, there are 2 different things. The property management can happen without the ballot item. It's just for the purposes of today's conversation, it shows it with it in. If we don't do the property management company, leave things the way they are, you're looking at an additional $220, almost $223,000 worth of expense right now, and it's only going to continue to rise.
Right. So I just think from a voting standpoint, or from a communicating to the community when we vote, we need to be crystal clear about what we're voting on. And so needing to be able to see these different scenarios, or be clear, this is an all-in with Property Management Association. That's what we're voting on. Versus a scenario of which here's all in without Property Management Association. data, or here's current assessments with property management, here's current assessments without. So there's really 4 different scenarios, it sounds like, if you're saying they're separate.
Well,
We could do a town hall or something like that, but I don't think being able to put that on the ballot would
yeah,
blow people
I mean,
away.
the management company decision will be made separate from the ballot item. And the ballot item really, it talks about the assessment of what it includes for everybody. So like what it includes sticker-wise, what we're getting for the lease and security on those items. That's really the ballot item. This was just kind of an illustration about how did we get there and what stays and what goes.
I just think from a communication standpoint, it's super helpful to be clear about those 4 different scenarios, because they are 4 different scenarios depending on how this plays out.
Well, I don't know that it is, Sharon. There's totally independent of the ballot item is, do we make the choice to save the $200,000
Right.
or not?
Right.
The ballot item only talks about the assessment. The ballot and what's getting changed is the assessment. So is it 5150? Is it 75? Is it? But I think everybody had said in the board, when they picked the one to go forth with and talk about in the town hall, the board wanted one assessment thing put on the ballot for people to consider. So it's yes or it's no.
Okay, fair enough. So from hearing it as a homeowner standpoint, though, what you're presenting, it's kind of confusing the issue, because you're showing both the money to be raised from the all-in ballot item, as well as you're building in savings from the Property Management Association. So just to help people be clear, and I think that's a great way to go, don't get me wrong, but just to be clear from helping people understand what are the numbers related to what. If we're voting on the assessment side, being really clear, this will bring an input, this will bring an income for this amount. Now, the next thing you need to know is we have an opportunity for additional savings separate from that item, which is from having this property management association. So it's just being clear about how it's being presented.
That will not need to be on the ballot because the management company happens before the ballot item. So at the ballot, we'll either know we're doing a management company and spending 200 less, or we're not having a management company and spending 200 more, which then takes away from, like John says, and I said, the roads and the overflow fund.
If I understand it correctly, the first illustrations that were brought up here were at $150 and $50. And we said, this is what's going to cost, and everybody said, oh, that's way too much. So these two started looking at different ways to reduce it, and one of them is going to a property management company. So that's just one of the ways to get to this new ballot item number. They're 2 completely independent things. And
Honestly,
quite
I never
honestly, we would-
considered the management company. It was brought to us by several people, and I think Tanelin mentioned something with the software division, and I just never considered it because I thought it'd be way out of our ballpark. But the first thing they said, both companies said to us when we interviewed them, and they interviewed us, and the one company that we would probably recommend actually did really do a deep dive on Braintree, but both management companies says, I can't believe you're not using a management company. That was the biggest wake up to me. The first company was a little bit more pricey. It basically probably is almost an even for even, but then we don't have the advertising, we don't have to worry about a lot of the taxes, the QuickBooks, all that kind of stuff goes away. Still may be the same cost with them, but it goes away. The big differences that I see with them, which is near and dear to my heart, is you can pick up a phone and talk to AI to get a service call done. So is that worth another $200,000?
And if anybody wants to know, just one real quick thing. Here's what we kind of looked at with the assessment level in roads, because hopefully it was clear. Roads is the elephant in Braintree as far as money goes, is that I've heard a billion different numbers about how much mile of roads we have. So we just use 40. That's what we've been talking about, is there's 40. So and we know from Vernon Jones, he says the average useful life of a road's 15 years. And Denny, I think you agree with this, that's roughly. So you'll get less out of some, more out of others. You want 15 years, you need to do some maintenance to the road over the course of time, which is crack sealing and things like that. But so if 40 miles of roads last 15 years, you do 2.6666667 miles of roads every year. And the cost basis we use, because we don't know if the base is bad or not, and I'm assuming asphalt's gone up in price again since the last full-on bid. So we use 300,000, so some roads will be more, some will be less. It'll probably balance itself out. Is that you need $800,000 a year for fixing, redoing the roads. You also need some money left over because you're gonna have to do the maintenance of it. It's like if you don't do the lane seam and seal it and fill it over time, seal some of the roads, they'll fall apart faster from it. And I know Denny said that, probably within the last 10 years, we've had 10 miles of roads done, 7 years, something like that.
7 years.
So those ones are probably going to be at the tail end of the list. But, by the time they're 15 years run, they're going to have to go.
And we're already into 8 years
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. And the one thing with the roads, it's if their average life is 15 years, it's never ending. We're not going to get away from that aspect of it. So this has the money in it to do all that part as well. So that was kind of the basis. And if you want to know, based upon this all-in assessment billing base, the roads expense is approximately $360 per owner per year.
One other thing I'd like to do is originally I came up with the 50, 150, and then we got a ton of feedback. I first would like to thank Linda and her team and the real estate folks that put together presentations. And with the town halls and some of the board meetings and people just bringing new ideas to you, this is not the end-all do-all. We, John and I and Kent and Tilly feel like this is close. It may still need a little tweaking. There might be some numbers that when we get the final bids back, that maybe they go up or down a little bit. But we feel like, based on conversations we've had with both property owners and vendors that do this kind of work, that the subdivision has gotten too big, too quick for this to be managed internally by 9 volunteers and a handful of paid employees. My hat's off to anybody that's jumped on this board and taken control and tried to make it work, but I think we're just at the point now where we've got to look at management and let the people do what they do good, do it, and let us manage them. I think this allows us to, people have brought up a bunch of these little projects like Jungle Gym and Rinse Station and just all the, the parking for the boats and trailers somewhere. John and I talked about it. We think start dumping all this fill that everybody has from the dig out of a subdivision and raise that property back there, and then we put a fence around that and let people park boats and RVs and trailers back there. It's just things like that that we can the smaller projects we can slide in between because we got enough money. And maybe one year we only do 2 miles and we got $300,000 left over that we can build a parking lot back there for things like that. But the main thing I want to stress is not just myself, but the rest of these guys. We listen to everybody. It wasn't just, damn it, we're doing 50 and 150 and you guys don't get a vote and this is going to happen. Again, I thank Linda and her team and the real estate folks, but they put together long hours of work to get this accomplished. And I think we've got a pretty good mesh of where we're trying to do everything for the single lot owners and 2 lot owners and single homes and whatnot. And the people that own more property pay a little bit more. And I think that's just, ethics in general. And personally, I believe everybody on this board busts their ass every day of the week to get things done around here. I don't know if anybody's got any other questions, I mean.
Yeah, we're standing here.
Go ahead.
Well, one would be an observation and another one's a question, which is, talked about maybe if we get a management company selling all the equipment, I don't think that's a good idea for at least a year of the management company proving that they can do what they say they're gonna
Let
do.
me clear that up. First off, the management company is not doing the maintenance initially. We've talked to three companies and had them come out here and do audits. So we are recommending one company to do it. I don't disagree with you, Greg. I think maybe keeping that equipment around for a year just to make sure they do it. Or, I mean, even if they don't, we can still fall back on maybe another company. But I'm not against keeping the equipment for another year. None of those numbers are figured in here of the sales of those products, so it's probably not a big deal to hold on to it for a year other than, and I don't even know if you gotta keep insurance on it because it's gonna be sitting stagnant, but the other thing to note that Clean Flow that does the lakes and, or the lake treatment of those passes, one of the things they asked for is some equipment to load the blocks and whatnot of the chemicals that they use or whatever, I forget what it is, and some storage area. So that may go hand in hand with having the equipment around and having the storage area back there.
Okay, so that's my next question is, if maintenance is gonna be outsourced, you've got a company like Clean Flow, and there's gonna be roughly, I don't know, 16, 17 different compressor stations around all the lakes. Who's gonna take care of those because they have to also be under some kind of a maintenance?
So for the first 5 years, well, I'll let Kent address that.
They initially, they come on a periodic basis. The first year they change the filters, et cetera, and the fans, the vane fans have to be changed every couple of years and stuff, but slowly we do more and more of that maintenance. They teach us how to do the part that we can do.
Right.
As far as grass cutting around the buildings, I mean, that would be part of the maintenance.
But they slowly move away from it and it ends up ours, just like the numbers decrease, it's because they're not here. So who's gonna do it? That's my question.
Oh,
There isn't any maintenance on it, right?
I mean, we can have them do it all, or we can have volunteers. If we don't have people who are interested in learning how to do it and want to give the time, then we would pay them to do it.
Correct, that, what they gave us, that includes the service on the stuff.
Okay, all the way out for 5 years?
Yep.
What about beyond? I mean,
And right now, it's, you know,
okay,
they say that in 5 years, the bio dredging has done its thing, so.
The lion's
You
share.
don't need, your line share, so you don't need as much of that stuff, so it's really the treatment cost that drops. So it still has the service.
there's still the services, the compressors that are located around the lakes. That's my only thought,
But even
is
if
that included
even if
in
we
these
work more with
numbers?
the property management, I mean, we've been talking to them all along that, and everybody that I've talked to, like Sherwood and Indian Lake, they all are slowly moving that maintenance just to reduce their costs. They're moving it from the company, whether it's Clean Flow or Solitude or whatever, to the people who live there, to the community.
And that's my point. So the people who live here, who's the management company? If there's only gonna be one person working here, who's the management company that's gonna take care of those items here?
No, it would be,
That's what you just
it would
said.
be our committee. No, it wouldn't be the management company. I'm not,
The maintenance is included.
Volunteers.
Volunteer now.
volunteer, our own people.
It
Yeah,
could be
people who live
that,
in the community.
or we could pay Clean Flow to do that if it's needed.
Okay,
Or just hire a regular old maintenance company.
okay. And I guess my question was, are those numbers included in the reduction over the 5-year period or 10?
What's in it today is the bio dredging company services.
But the thought all along was that if we transition some of the maintenance from the company, Clean Flow, Solitude, whoever, to us, it wouldn't be done by Tom and his crew. It would be predominantly volunteers within the community.
Hmm?
Lakes and beaches people or other people that are knowledgeable and willing to spend the time to do it. We wouldn't pay someone else to do it. We would just, why would we do that? We might as well just pay Clean Flow as to pay someone else to do it. We
And it
just-
really depends on the nature of the maintenance too. If it's a mechanical breakdown, that's probably we're calling them. But if it's just something where you're dumping a chemical or changing a fan belt or a filter, it's probably something that we can handle in-house.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it the lakes I've toured, the communities are doing that. They just have volunteers who do that stuff.
Jerry?
There's somebody out there, just letting people through the gate standing there. Jerry Hicks, I was wondering, with the cost, I think what you have come up with is a very, very good idea. And I think a lot of people agree with what you have come up with. I think from the very beginning, I came out and said it from the very beginning, that I think the price is going to scare people away. The $150, that's quite a bit out of somebody's pockets when you're on a strict budget. But we're still stuck at that $150.
Only for, what did I say, 30-something properties?
And pull the chart back up.
The thing that we listened to about that, Jerry, was that the people said, I'm willing to pay $100, you prove yourself and everything goes well, we'll spend $150. Other people said, $150 is just too much, you need to lower it. So that's what we took into consideration. The ones in red, which are about 30 properties, is the only ones with multiple lots or multiple lots on a home that are paying the $150.
Oh, multiple lots, okay,
3 or more lots,
okay.
joined or not, and 3 or more lots on a house, joined or not.
Okay,
So those are the only people paying $150. I think if something in the forest with a home and 2 lots is $125.
okay, I had written it down
Or
wrong.
plus 2 lots, so if you're at 3,
It's
the total
$150.
lot's 125.
Okay.
And
Okay,
you're-
so then if you just have one home,
It's $100.
just,
Can you point that
just
out for
100,
one? There
okay.
you go. The first blue line, right?
So this is any combination of any combination of 2 lots is $600 a year, $50 a month. Any combination of a home and up to 1 additional lot, 2 total, is $100. If you have any combination of a home plus 2 lots or a total of 3,
Yeah.
is $125. And if you've got more than
3 of any.
we're probably gonna change that one either, it's typed wrong. It should be up here, I think. But anything more than 3 total lots, you're at 150, but there's 31 of them. There's 31 of them in Raintree combined.
I think you might get it
So
with that.
the only, going through all these numbers, which, I think there were probably more than 5 iterations, that's just what we saved.
Frank?
The only thing that alters the revenue is a change to this one and a change to that one. That represents, this right here represents over 90% of all the ownership in Raintree. So all the other ones, you know what, I mean, you'd have to, if you wanted to change the total assessment, you'd have to change those 31 to astronomical numbers.
The guy that owns 8 lots, we could charge him $1,000 a month and it wouldn't make a difference in the budget.
Right.
And we felt like that was the fairest way to go about it and make everybody comfortable and get the money we need for the strategic projects we have at hand.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think,
Mark, you got something?
Yeah, just real quick, I just want to go and applaud the board, for approaching this
Folks,
thing.
can you keep it down back there, please, so we can all hear?
Okay. Just applaud the board, for being creative, looking at some things that are some people might consider sacred cows, with the whole office staff and the maintenance people. I mean, this is a pretty radical idea. The numbers certainly support it, that it works out well. I mean, I think anytime you have a big problem like what we have here, you're not going to solve it in one fell swoop. You need to kind of look at different pieces. Whereas in my understanding, the biggest aspect is with the roads, and one thing that I'm concerned about is we have some of these gravel roads, and that if we have it in the rules that we're supposed to build a paved road to someone if they buy a lot. I'd hate for someone to go off and buy a lot from the county, for $500 way back on a gravel road, and we're stuck with having to put like a mile or two of paved road into there. So that's why I suggest. I mean, I don't know if legally we can do this, but something along the lines like some moratorium or something like that on new roads until we get our ducks together so we can go and take care of the roads that we have. But overall, I congratulate, as a CPA, I congratulate you all. You put a lot of thoughts into this and stuff like that. I know this is very challenging, and also a very not, y'all don't get the respect and for your efforts and stuff like that. So whatever it's worth, I applaud you all.
Take that as a takeaway to the next ACC meeting. Is there's nothing in the bylaws or covenants that state when you get a new road in if you build a house, but
We
you
discussed
guys,
it yesterday.
Gotta build a
Live
house.
a year within a house being built.
that's just a board vote. Then he looked it up. It's just a resolution. All we the
There's a
board
motion
can
made
change it.
back about 2004.
I mean, the board
So
can
the
change
motions
it.
can be changed.
Oh, yeah, you need to change that.
Yeah.
I talked
So,
about even
is
before
this-
that too.
Right. Well, because part of it is, I mean, just look at this. If we had $75,000 worth of new road you had to put in this year, those fixes that are happening wouldn't be happening. So, and that will take precedence over fixing the road. So if you could just see what ACC has to say about it, and if they're
We
okay
did
with
have
it.
it a couple years ago, remember that couple that built a house at the end of a cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
And they wanted the road paved and nobody else even lived on it. I don't know whatever happened.
Accessory ordinance done.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Is
gonna
it
put in roads
$20,000?
breaking up.
Any other homes built on it?
No.
No, you need to change that.
Do they want to trade houses?
Yes, sir. What's your name?
Yeah, my name's Angelo Zarbel. I'm kind of new at this. This is the first meeting I've been to, but I'm just a lot owner. And what you're saying is a lot owner without a house is like $50 a month, right?
Correct.
Did I hear you say that the boat stickers and the car stickers, I might have heard wrong, but I thought you said that they were included in that $50 a month, or is that not true?
It will be.
So if I do the math, I got 4 cars and a boat, I'll be getting by cheaper yearly
There you go.
than if I'm paying for my boat stickers and my car stickers, right?
Is that a yes vote?
If it's cheaper, it's for me. But yeah, I mean, I'm all right with that because it'd be $200 cheaper than what I'm paying now then, if you do the math.
Yeah.
But is there any chance that the stickers are, since I've been here for 26 years in this lot, I've never been in the property, but I had a lot here for 26 years now. And it was unfortunately a lot in the 20 to 25 section, so I've been in the, feeling like the minority for a long time now. I've been paying that $930 for the last 10 years or whatever. And all that time you get the feeling like maybe you're being a little discriminated if you're letting the minority. And then after you get that solved, the boat stickers went from $20 to $100. And I asked the gal, I says, how come they go up? She says, because it's one of the only things we don't have to vote on, so we can raise them however we want. So I said, so we're sticking it to the people who used the lake.
Angelo, that'll be taken care of because the ballot item that people will be asked to vote on, it says in it that these things are included. So
Okay.
so it can't be changed down the road by the board. It had to be put on the ballot to change it.
Where prior to now, it has been able to be changed, whatever could needed. Okay, that's all I need to know. I just didn't know if I heard you correctly or not.
Somebody remind him when the election is.
Hi, Melissa Jens. I have a question. You probably explained it, but I didn't understand it. With the property management company, we don't vote on it as property owners. It's the board that votes on it, correctly? When will that be? And can we see who votes yes and who votes no? Because I think it's a great idea, and if you vote no, I'm not voting for you again. So, I mean, is that something we can see? Also, Dave Getty, would you please put your phone down and listen to everybody? You've been texting the whole time, and I find it rude.
Taking notes.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. All right, thank you.
It'll be a public vote at a board meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
and will it be like in writing, or it's yay and nay?
We'll make a motion.
We'll make it, okay.
Discuss it and call for a vote.
Okay, I think it's a brilliant idea. Thank you guys for everything. Kent, thank you for all you do for lakes and beaches.
Unanticipated expense. I mean, the excitement of that. Kitty, are you sure it's on track?
All right, so anybody that's still here and not dead from the falling camera, they gave us a deck of their portfolio and the things they do and whatnot. I grabbed a few screen grabs out of it and put it in here. You probably can't read it, can you? Too small?
No, I can read it.
Let's see, I'm afraid it'll make it too big, but this is just something they do, you know, some of the values that they add to a management company. They've been around since 1973, one office, 21 local teams. They are backed by a worldwide management company.
Hold on a second.
That might be too high. This is-
I got too much.
Okay.
All right, so they are backed by a global management company that I actually dug into a little bit. They can take over some of the web services. They can manage our website, so that would be a cost that I think we still have included in there that may go. I will tell you, they were completely honest and upfront, and you can ask Kent or Tilly or John about it. I thought they did an excellent job of presentation. We asked them tons of questions. This will all be put on the website, Greg, for anybody that wants to see it. I will tell you, the biggest thing I see coming out of it is it's just everything. Accounts payable, accounts receivable, we're gonna pay $250 for an annual CPA tax return versus $11,000. I mean, it's just crazy. They have collection attorneys on staff, they send out the billing. That one thing that probably nobody realizes out of a management company, which I didn't until I read it, might be in here, I don't know. They will do one visit per month, drive through here, separate from the person that is the employee, will drive through here and just check on management of the subdivision. Violations, derelict vehicles, somebody that don't belong in here. So it's kind of once a month, it's not a big deal, but it is kind of an assistant to any type of security we end up getting. So that was kind of a warm and fuzzy for me, knowing that they're not just gonna charge us money, do the finances, and be done with it.
And, I mean, online, Desiree, when they do that, if they have a warning or a censure, you go in with your process, answer it on there. They actually do all the letters and stuff. They go out after it, and if there's a censure, they wrap it into the billing and send out the censure, and now it's in the full-on accounting system.
So when the censure goes out and everything, and then gets moved to a warning because the person fixed it, they'll be able to fix that as well?
Yeah, they do ACC online. You guys can send in plans, the homeowner. You guys can approve them online, ask questions. I don't know if it's a Zoom call or something proprietary to them, but they do all that. This town SQ is...
Dave, 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just going to confirm that. So what you're saying is that really we would still have control with our ACC board. They'd be kind of doing the paperwork and the details, but we would still be deciding yay or nay on
We would
projects.
still have a chairman and a co-chairman and a committee if need be, and,
Same
Yeah,
with
all that
rules, same
still
with
stays
rules.
there.
Anything that's governed in the bylaws and covenants still has to, it says where it's approved or where the decision's made. That still is there.
Thank you.
this town SQ is like, people have been asking for years, POP, and Tantalin kind of referred to it in her last presentation. This is very similar to what she's asking for, so I was,
Except they do it.
yeah, I was blown away by it. It's just so much automation behind it and whatnot. They will clean the country club if they would like them to. It's just unbelievable what they do, and to me, it's $2,400 a month, right, plus the employee. I mean, I just blown away by the cost. I mean,
Security aspects.
that's completely different. You know, that's part of our security, but they will tie into that and, you know, basically communicate back and forth, but they are not going to be the security personnel.
So then, will they have somebody watching the cameras, or are we gonna have to still have?
That's all part of that strategic planning with the flock, the license plate cameras, a security guard, whatever. Whatever route that security goes, that's what we have presented in the all-in. But there's been some discussion of whether or not we need security guards, or discussion whether or not we need flock. There's
So
discussion.
is something separate than,
Yes, all the security costs come completely separate as part of the all. If we don't get the all-in budget, none of that happens.
I mean, one of the things too is like when we need something, you could, we would, going forward with them, you'd start with them. So you needed this muskrat and beaver trapping, we'd go to them and leverage them for what resources and what they have. And they'll even, I mean, I don't have to find a say, but they'll negotiate some of this stuff, you know, for us. So when we need to go find a vendor and we do it on our own today, they got a nationwide, you know, database of folks to go to, you know, and obviously if we don't like what they come back with, you know, the board can still do it on their own, you know, for a project or a one-off.
The other thing they do is they will maintain work orders for us as well, so we can open a work order and they'll assign it to the proper committee or vendor and whatnot. One of the things that I thought was, and I think this is getting into the pricing, one of the things that I thought was very interesting is that one of the companies that we interviewed to get a quote from, that just like probably there's people here saying, oh my God, we're going with the management company, this is gonna cost this, and we don't have this office staff member or that maintenance guy. And they go in and they talk to everybody and present their case, and they went to the annual meeting, and it was a bunch of, you know, it was 50-50 boos and yays and whatnot. And one guy told us, and correct me if I'm wrong, the second year they went to the annual meeting, they got a standing ovation. Because they were doing such a great job. Subdivision was running great. It wasn't all this big green. And really what it does, it takes all the tough decisions out of the board, because we are not reporting the property owner that lives right next to us because they got a junk trailer sitting in their house. It's coming from the property management company. I'll take a break here for a minute if you wanted to address some.
Sure. I'm Jennifer Roan. I'm newer to the
What was
community.
his last name? I didn't hear.
Roan, R-O-H-N. I know some of the people in the room and things that I've met. Hi. First of all, being in your positions, I respect you and really appreciate how you handle things, because there is never enough appreciation given to people who donate their time and efforts. You've done a lot. I've researched a lot of things in lake communities with even wanting to move in, and I chose here. I come from all the places who have started the management places, and they are effective. I just had concerns with their rates, how and if you lock in, or they will change or increase or they won't decrease, especially not in today's economy. And if you're charged per vandalism event, gate break, how do those fees break down? Because those can increase significantly over time as well. So that was my first question, is if we know any of that yet.
We didn't negotiate a contract yet because we're not at
In
that
that
point.
point,
We
right.
were gathering
Information.
possibilities and information.
Mhm.
The management company doesn't pay for anything, so, and if that big, long thing I went through,
Which was great, thanks
you
for the
know, if
breakdown.
the gates are broken, fixing them is in there.
They are
that
the
money stays
source
there.
of remediating
Yeah,
to who,
no.
not the what.
Right. So the
Okay.
cost of that stuff, vandalism, it still
Is going to be
doesn't-
within our,
doesn't change, right?
yes.
They
There's
may
not a
help us
big-
manage who fixes it, but, you know, at the end of the day, it, you know,
It's still ours.
Yeah, right. I mean,
Okay.
They they come with tools, like Dave showed
Mhm.
you that town, I think it's called Town Square, Town SQ.
Mhm.
You know, they come with their army of staff that's at their offices, but, you know, their role isn't paying for, you know, things that we have. They're not gonna pay for clean flow.
Right.
You know, they, at $28,000 a year, they go under real quick. So,
Sure. Well, and then I'm sure when you're looking at all that and getting the bids and so forth, you'll look into those things. I just know that that has been problems for other associations and lake organizations, that they go and get prices and then they're having to re-find a new management company.
yeah, no, we definitely get that.
Thanks for the heads up.
Yes.
What is the contract and what does it change year to year?
It's called Associate as the parent company. We haven't picked a vendor yet. I will say this page right here, the nice thing about it is it shows Apple, Android, and a monitor. It is nice, you can basically access the same thing you can on their website, which has got a plethora of information from a phone. You can pay your assessments, you can pay your censures, you can file a building permit, you can get a refund from it, you can check your account. I mean, it is everything that everybody has been asking for as far as automation goes. And if there's, I think what I'd like to do is, depending on who we choose, if we choose somebody, that we get a demo done of it, that we record, and then we can put that on our website, just so you guys can kind of see the interaction of what they will do. I will tell you, I thought I read in here somewhere, maybe it was something that they actually help the elderly, both financially and medically, or assistance of some sort. I don't remember if that was this one or not, but you know, there's 3 phases to bringing them in. It's 1 to 3 months. Associate is the global company that manages this kind of stuff, and their portfolio is just unbelievable. $2,400 a month, a $300 setup fee, 12 site visits, preparation of board management report and attendance at 4 board meetings and 1 annual meeting. So I forgot about that. So I don't know. It's just, this is just a snippet of the whole pamphlet. I'll put that whole thing online once we.
If you scroll back up, let people sort of keep going.
See the name of it.
Right there. I mean, that one tells you high summary level of everything that comes in. To what they do.
Damn, I named this file at a glance thinking that was my great idea, and it's right there in the damn heading.
I let you feel good. I could have told you that last night.
Jerry, you got a question?
Yes, I heard you say something about the computers, the web and that they would not change, they wouldn't take the web page away.
They can or can't. I read in there that they will do website development in 15 minutes, which more power to them. They can also manage it, or they will audit our website and see if that's something that we want to keep, and that they just add links to it, or tell us what can be better, or what needs to change, or what they like or what they don't like. So that will be part of the phases of the review process of whether or not we go with a new website or they just implement.
What about
ours.
Rever?
Goes away. They got their own built-in cloud storage security.
We just spent all that money on that.
Yeah, work in progress.
Oh, well.
Baby
made the best
steps.
decision.
Baby steps.
They made the best
Yeah.
decision at the time, and you know, we've got to change.
We're spending $60,000 a year right now on lake chemicals, and that goes away when we get.
Yeah, I know. When it's,
clean
when it,
flow
when
or
it
something
fixes
like
it, it's
I mean,
gone, yeah.
It's just,
Okay, that's all I just.
Thank you. Linda?
Linda Camden.
Oh, hang on one second. Go ahead, Ken.
no, I've been asked, I've gotten a bunch of questions, emails, texts. You can swim in the lake.
I understand.
You can swim in Autumn Lake. It's the irrigation restriction is for 5 days, only for people who are pumping water out of Autumn Lake. But you can swim there, your dog, cat, or, well, not cat, but your dog, maybe some people's cats, but your dog can get in the water, it's fine.
And tomorrow's the musket.
And tomorrow we're setting muscat traps with the trapper.
Thank you.
I just saw a notation somewhere in your presentation about live streaming. Is the management company able to do live streaming of our?
That's just the high-level overview. We haven't got into the nuts and bolts with them, but we just wanted to hit the bullet points of what we felt like was important. So that's definitely a question that's on our mind as well.
Because one of the feedback that we got through the town halls was that people, would love to be at home still watching what's going on now, live streaming. So if we can get that into our, I know Derek did that for us for a long time, free of charge to us, but if we can make it.
Require us to purchase the equipment, but they probably will help set all that up and whatnot. Sharon.
Hi, Sharon Wingren again. I was just going to say, again, great, I'm a huge fan of property management, and I encourage you, like Tanel and I had talked, and she had presented at the last board meeting about looking at some alternatives like that were more for the, not as comprehensive as this, but she had a really great framework and thinking process around looking at all the technical requirements and how to go about doing the comparisons. So as you review these different property management associations, I encourage you to get Tanel and another volunteer committee together so we can help take that load and help you do that and really vet out whatever company you choose to go
I
with.
will say I did, when I reviewed this company, I did a side-by-side comparison of what she put in that document and then the referral that she sent through. And it was very similar, and I was just, she did an excellent, or you guys did an excellent job on that, but it kind of kicked us in the butt to get moving on taking a look at this stuff. Anybody else? Any questions, concerns?
Yeah, my name's Tim Powers.
Jim Powers?
Tim
Powers.
You already mentioned it, but what is the assessment for a single home on a single lot?
$100
A month.
a month.
I got one more. My own personal belief is it shouldn't be a yes or no, $100 or not. It should be, here's what it is and who votes for it, and maybe a couple different amounts, 100, 110, 120, whatever. A lot of people vote, and whatever number comes out, the best is the one that y'all go with. But my fear is that we're doing this and it's going to be a yes/no vote, and I think a lot of people are going to say no. Who wants to pay $1,200 a year? And it's going to fail. I don't want it to.
Don't you have insurance on your home?
Well, of course I do.
Well, so this is like buying an insurance policy for the value of your home. If we don't take care of our community, our home values are going to.
Totally agree. Totally agree. What I'm saying is it should be a yes or no answer. It should be, here's the number we're going with, period.
Somebody asked that, and so I forget who I was talking to, but we'll run it past the attorney. I don't know if it's legit to do that or not. We have to ask the attorney, because, I mean, if you don't give people an option to say no, that could come back and haunt us. So we'll run it past the attorney and see.
Or if somebody says, I voted for 100, I didn't vote for 150, and that's what you guys ended on. I don't think that would go well.
The big question I have about it, Greg, is 1,482 people through a few voices through town halls and board meetings said $50 was too much. If them 1,478 people show up, guess what? Not that they will, I'm just being facetious, but what my goal and what I feel like we have done through the town halls and the board meetings and presentations is listen to people that $100 is too much for a lot, $50 is great, $150 is too much for a home, and the people that got all the lots, and as one person named it, the millionaires, they are paying a little bit more, rightfully so. So I don't think it's fair to say that I want to vote for it or I don't want to vote for it. I think if this doesn't work, we'll have to come back to the drawing board and either do a special election or come up with another model. But I think this makes most people happy, or the mostest of the most.
I guess, yeah, Mark Hopkins again. I guess what I'm just saying is that the last ballot, you know, it kind of looked like the yes votes in order, who were supporting the tax increase or the assessment increase, they got split. And so we just got to make sure with the wording of it that people know, okay, you know, like I'm just making up numbers. Okay, like one level 75, one level's 100, one 125. That if you vote that if 75 passes and 100 passes, but 125 doesn't pass, that will go with the 100. I'm just saying because like last time it seemed like it got split out. So we just got to watch that wording very carefully.
One of
so
the
that people
things
know.
that you're referring to is the roads budget. So if somebody half of the people wanted $50 a month and half of them wanted $100 a month, and combined, they would have passed the no votes. But I don't think we can assume that if somebody votes for 150, that they automatically approve 75 or 100. And I think I talked to Ted about that, and he said he would have to research it more. But if you vote for Biden, or you don't vote for Biden, or you vote for Trump, you don't get the other guy in just because you didn't vote for him.
Well, I would think that there has to be some way that you can word it as such that you're voting like up to a certain level and with the dollars, so you don't get the idea. Because like for instance, if a person's voting for $150, well then, but that doesn't work out. But they're still voting for 100. I would think there'd be some way. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but there's going to be some way that you could word that.
So are you saying, like, say we have 75, 100, and 150, but there's no opt-out on it? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So if somebody's only willing to pay 75, but 150 passes, how does that work?
They pay
Well,
150.
well,
Yeah, I don't
because-
think that's fair.
well,
They didn't
no.
vote for it.
Well, no, what happened in that situation would be, at the 150, they'd be a no. Okay, at 125, they'd be a yes at 75.
We learned our lesson. We have to have a ballot item that says, here are the 5 different categories, and you fit in one of these, do you vote yes or no?
Well, but you're splitting your yes vote.
So
So
could-
you're never going to do
You're
that.
voting for it en masse.
So could it be one of those options in those 5 categories? And again, this is singular amounts as opposed to your state phased amounts, but could it be that one of those options would be, I'm willing to pay $150 or a lesser amount that is approved? I'm willing to pay $125 or a lesser amount. that is
Let me
approved.
clarify something. That is one ballot item.
Right.
It's not an option.
You don't get to pick and choose.
No, I
If you
isn't it?
own that, that is it.
You either
And
vote
to
for
clar-
this,
And to clarify
Or you don't.
that thing from last year, it was 25% was the lower amount, 25% was the higher amount. It equaled the no vote. For people saying that it split the vote and it failed, that would have meant that every soul in the lower or the higher would have voted the other way, and it still would have failed because it would have been a tie.
Well-
It didn't have the,
Well, I guess I understand what you're saying, John. I'm just saying, I would think the people at that higher amount, if they were given the idea, okay, if that doesn't work, you know, we'll still do the lower
Yeah.
amount. If I'm voting for 100 and but that doesn't
Yeah, I get-
pass,
I get
I'm
it.
still with, you know.
So what you're saying, Mark, is kind of what we've done here based on the feedback we got though, because the lot owners, which seem to be the significant amount of people that spoke up at the meeting saying 150 is too much for a house, and you know, we don't want to pay 100 and then get 10 lots for the other guys that only pay 50. So this kind of says what you're asking for just in one vote though.
Okay, so what you're saying, you're not going to give us an option, which I understand this is fine. We're going to give it, is there going to be this or nothing?
there's one ballot
Well,
item.
when we say this, you pay 100.
Right, I understand
100.
that. Uh-huh.
It's a tier.
The other guy in the range
Right.
before us pays 150.
Right, so there's really going to be like like one set of increases or a
Exactly.
no vote.
Exactly.
And that's, okay, well that, I mean, that
One
makes.
set of parameters and you either approve it or
Right.
don't.
It also will state in there that the current increase goes away and the COLA goes away.
Right.
So all of that is in the ballot item as a
Well, there is a
description.
lot to be said for making it real simple, to make it
Greg,
simple, that's what
we'll
you're
ask
doing.
the attorney, can we do a vote, can we have a ballot item that doesn't have an amount option?
Well, if you run for office, okay, and you're the only person that's on the ballot, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, there's nobody else against it. There's no yes or no, it's just that person.
Not voting for him is a no vote though.
But that's a no vote.
But if one person does and everybody else doesn't, he wins.
I would like to offer, and I don't know that it solves what you're saying, but what I would like to also say is that once it is decided on, for sure the project team has committed to keep awareness and keep explaining and door to door if we need to explain, this so that people don't go in going, I don't get this. We'll say, which one are you? Okay, well, when the vote comes up, you will pay this dollar amount, if they offer that to us. Everyone gets that, right? More awareness, more campaigning of this once a solid ballot item is decided on. So we'll help in that regard, and everybody else can too.
Needs to be promoted.
Yes.
Big time.
Thanks. Denny, you got something?
Yes, we passed a ballot item for ACC to modify the amount we collect on new housing and how much gets refunded and so forth. That would go away if this gets voted in, right?
Not for new builds, not for a house, house or
Boathouse,
seawall.
seawall, house,
Okay, very good. All right.
all those those.
We went
deposits
through
still-
the covenants and found the 275 different places this touches.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you're still gonna collect the bond for
Mhm.
all the stuff that's there. It's just rain for you to keep any of it if you complete the project the way you said you were
Okay,
gonna complete.
that's cool.
Anybody else?
I just want to, we just got to remind ourselves, the reason we're doing this is because we are in a deficit of income. We need to get income in order to keep our standards up. So with that being said, the 150 that Dave started with was to get that 2 million, get that looking at roads, lakes and beaches, and the security, those three things to encompass that part. So to try to get as close as we can to that 2 million per year, that's where we came up with the 150. We heard from town hall, we heard from property owners, we heard from board members and anybody and everybody that that was too much. So now, going back to that, trying to get close to that 2 million to keep our standards up, that's where we came with this. And then the property management helped us to get that down because we would be saving money, our expenses that we have current. That's basically, we gotta just think, gotta get more money in here somehow. And I think everybody agrees that our assessments are low. Everybody I've talked to, they say, yeah, we've got a pretty good deal here, but we wanna, our roads are falling apart, our lakes are, starting to have 40 years of buildup. So, you gotta remind, and that's where you all come in, telling your neighbors, it's to help keep our prestigious community and have good things here.
I'll get to you in a second, Sharon. Outside of the money and keeping things nice around here, the number one thing this solves is you will find more people interested in running for the board because it's not a constant bicker of all the crap that's going on out here. It's just the violations, the lakes and beaches, the beach itself, the pavilion, the people that drive through the gate. It's just everything about being a board member. These guys can attest to it, that we spend as much time on trouble as we do just trying to do our own committee stuff. So it definitely makes that part of it easier. Sharon?
Yeah, no, that made me think of, one thing that came up at the town hall was the idea of people being able to basically donate money or contribute money, and there's some tax portion, I don't remember all the specifics
Pretty
about
much
it.
goes away if the all-in passes because it'll be such a high amount because it's, what is it, 5% of the expenditures for a year that you can take in on a donate, what is that?
60%.
60%?
60% of our assessment, 60% of our revenue has to be the assessment.
I'm sorry, can you speak louder? I can't hear.
60% of the or 60% of the revenue has to be assessment driven
Okay.
on it. We're at about 72 right now. This goes in effect, it'll jump to 97 plus.
Okay, that's what I was just
So
wondering if that was still on the table.
That will open up if, there are things that people want to donate and fundraise for, that, we got far more than 12% to play with, so.
That being said, over time, there's probably not the need for that anymore. We'll be self-sufficient.
Awesome.
That it?
Hey, I guess
Go
one last
ahead.
question, not to be, but have we considered like with inflation going in, because like these numbers are all kind of like set in stone, have we considered putting like an inflation rider or something like that? Because if we don't do that, 10, 20 years down the line, if inflation continues, we're reading the same issue. I know people don't want to, it's a lot easier to say it'll be X number of dollars, but you have to consider inflation.
There was a mention of a COLA, and I think the town hall I was at, and lost a couple fingers in that conversation. It's definitely been brought up.
Right.
It probably needs to be considered, but I think we just got to get the subdivision on the right track. And in 10 years, if those numbers start coming closer together, then you revisit it.
I can understand that.
Because some of the things I heard from last year's ballot items, they didn't pass because they had COLA on them. People were absolutely opposed to it, raising it, automatically, year after year after year, that, this gives some stability, behind it.
Sometimes you have to take what you can get.
I think we have some,
Step in the right direction.
depending on how well this community will join together for volunteer stuff. I mean, we could save some money off our bio dredging solution. We could save some money off the maintenance stuff. We did the mulch, all the stuff out here last year. So, I think there's some more opportunities in there. And, hopefully as we start taking care of the roads regularly, Denny may tell me I'm crazy, but, my hope is as we start taking care of the roads better over time, that, we will hopefully find that we don't need, as much, and that some of these roads are gonna last longer than, 15 years.
I will say about the roads, after you get to a point where we've got them all replaced and they're done right with the underlayment and compaction, that going forward, the underlayment part doesn't need to be done anymore, and you can roto-mill to continue to fill in a gap here or there. But you're always going to have the main roads, East and West Vista, Plantation, Column, some of the major roads that are always used. But as you get into this 10 to 15, 20 years from now, you're spending money on maybe East and West Vista because those other roads are less traveled, and they just had $235,000 done to them. That's going to last, we say 15 years because that's what the contractor says, but that's driving down this road with cars and traffic every day, and some of them are not even built on yet. So I think it could go hand in hand. We're spending less, but then inflation and asphalt goes up, so it could balance out. But I think in the long run, this planning is eventually going to put a little bit more money in the bank account, and I have nothing to make me happier than to say the board come and say to all of us that, hey, we don't need assessments this year. And that would mean that whatever this plan was, worked.
Yeah, we don't want to get back to the same situation.
We've got $4 or $5 million in the
Hey, you can't
bank.
leave yet. It's not over.
I just have one real basic question.
Go ahead.
If this all-in does not pass, does that eliminate us moving forward with a management company?
No.
Okay, got it. Because I'm in a position right now where I just got here and I'm vested. Like, I can't go anywhere, and we're trying to buy the lot next door, we don't have a garage, we want to build additions. I mean, I'm spending significant money into this place, and I can't do both. So if you remove 3F from the covenants as proposed, if this passes,
We won't
I mean-
remove it, 3F will still exist, it'll just be a different, the format we're talking about here. But the goal is to get this passed, and that's why we're bringing it up now.
the way I understand it, the format removes the 47% and like the whole understanding I
goes
have
away.
of buying the lot that is owned by the county that's next to mine. So I mean, now all the money, I mean, everything I've already put in, I'm for nothing. And now I'm just paying out more assessment money for the same thing I came here with. Does that make sense to you?
No,
My invested is depreciated.
So you got a house and a lot currently, and you're trying to buy the lot next to you?
Well, we were going to, and then this came up. And then you voted last month to put it on the ballot issue to remove or cancel 3F from the covenants, which concerns,
Not cancel it, just rewrite it.
This replaces the current 3F.
okay, so what's the verbiage you're gonna use on all that, like specifically?
So let me.
Because when I
explain
asked
it.
about the equipment, you gave me one answer, and then you gave this gentleman the exact details I was trying to get at.
Let me explain to you, like, so you own a lot and a house. Currently, if this would pass, you would pay $100 a month. If you end up buying that house to put a garage next to your other, or that lot to put a garage on it next to your house, you still pay $100 a month if this passes.
Okay,
So
so,
that don't affect the way you get billed. What will affect how you get billed today is if this passes. Yes, it's gonna be more, but I don't know if you have a boat, golf cart, or any cars or anything like that, but none of those fees are included in this, so you won't be paying those anymore.
yeah, well, that doesn't really, we have one golf cart that, you know, we don't live on the lake, so basically I either do it now or don't do it at all.
No,
Because
no,
I
you
run the
can-
risk of,
You can do it later and it's still, you'll be paying the
I mean,
same.
if I can get it for the same price as what I'm looking at now, without like quadrupling my assessment,
But so
You know.
you have a house today on one lot.
the way I understand it's on one lot, I have a lot, the records are pretty queasy
So
on
as
it.
long, if you acquire the other lot, as long as you deed it the same,
Well, yeah, it all goes in my
you
husband's
would,
name.
you would pay $100 a
Pay the
month,
same amount.
$100 a month going forward. If this doesn't pass, you're gonna pay, I forget off the top of my head, a house this year is
402 is what we're at right now.
425, you pay 53% of the lot price on it. It goes up 5% 2 more years.
Yeah, and then 5%
Depending
and then-
on the
yeah.
inflation, it could go up a max 2% for
Mhm.
all of eternity. This doesn't have in it today anything in it for inflation. I mean, I think we learned from last time that,
Keep it simple.
if you put an inflation escalator in it, people will vote it down just because of that alone, from it. But, if we get, crippled with inflation over the next 25 years,
Like we
you know
just
what,
did.
it's gonna have to be addressed.
We'll all have to make
but,
changes.
Yep.
I mean, I'd rather see the management company, if that's what it's gonna take, I'd just like to see that the planning for the future is happening and not to get dug down in some stupidness for 12 years again. I
No,
mean,
that's absolutely what we're trying to
What I keep
eliminate.
saying, throwing bad money, or good money after bad is, not moving forward, not planning for the future. And I agree with an inflation thing, but
Let
if
me
it's gonna
clear one
be
thing
too
up about
expensive.
the maintenance equipment. With the 2 statements I made are contradictory, but the one statement, the original one, says we can sell them, and none of those funds are included in the budgetary item. So if we need to keep them, we'll keep them. If we don't, we can sell them. My point to Greg was just spitballing that, yeah, I think it's probably safe to keep them for a year, but at some point in time, try to get rid of them. So if that was contradictory, I apologize, but it is our goal probably, or a board's goal to
Well, we're gonna have to buy $70,000 more of equipment for this dredging situation then.
that technically, we can almost sell that maintenance equipment to
Like,
cover that.
Well, that's the numbers I was seeing. I mean, there's a lot.
Well, they're only gonna depreciate over time, so if we're not gonna use them, There's nothing
That's
wrong
what I
hanging
mean.
on to them for a
If we're
year,
looking
but
at, that's
if
kind of what I was
this
getting at.
works well,
Yeah.
then why would we keep them?
And then do whatever we need to do with the buildings if they want to get rid of that cost. Because I mean, I can see the numbers on the sheet plain clear.
Yeah.
Nope, that's all I needed to know.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Nope, I'm leaving.
Good
Good luck, guys.
You're following.
What was your name? I gotta put I'm leaving to here. Me or you? All right, thanks everybody for coming. Basically, this was an informational meeting, spread the word. If you got something that sounds better, bring it back to us. Like I said, this is dynamic and it's a moving target and we'll revisit it if we have to.
So for the board, we will send it out to you guys